Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Module 2. I want to congratulate you all on your success in that first module. It was a great way to start the program, a great way to start the course. And I'm going through your essays currently, your narratives. I'm very much enjoying getting to know you a little better and actually seeing your growth patterns throughout your life. It's kind of interesting when we start to look at that, what our growth patterns are like, and then see where we're going from there. What are our next steps? How are we going to continue this pattern or interrupt the pattern and take a different direction? I wanted to introduce you all to a concept called Chronos and Kairos. Chronos is that time that it is just chronological time. We're just involved in it. We're just moving. There's no stopping it. The thing that stops Chronos is Kairos, and Kairos are those moments of change, those moments that change the trajectory of where our lives are going. And in your narratives, it's been really cool to read what are those Kairos moments. Where did your trajectory change? What are those things that have had the biggest impact on you? We could be stuck in Chronos for years and years without Kairos moments. I hope that's not like typical for us, but I know that as teachers or as professionals, we get into our jobs and we just go, and we tend to sometimes even miss what could be a Kairos moment because we don't rest in it and we don't take a moment. So I'm going to challenge you to create those Kairos moments for those that you're working with, students and adults around you, that these could be moments of change where we interrupt, where we change the trajectory. And also for ourselves, challenge us to take a moment and look around and look for those Kairos moments, because those are the things that help us to grow and change. So whenever we get into a Kairos moment, typically we do rethinking and then reforming before we jump back onto Chronos in our different trajectory. So just kind of an interesting scenario I wanted to introduce you to, because it makes it more visual, seeing where our changes come from and where we could be social justice activists in our lives. So in Module 2, we're looking at why good intentions are not enough. And in this module, we have a lot of reading and a significant video. But the good news is you have no deliverable assignment at the end of the module. So the only thing you're responsible for during this module, technically, is doing the readings and watching the video, The Urgency of Intersectionality. So intersectionality, one of my favorite things that I've ever learned about cultures in my life, I think, has been this, because it's opened up to so many other things about culture. But the fact that we intersect, that there are things about us that are important and they overlap, and where they intersect is where there is a difference. For instance, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. All of those things kind of intersect, and it's how we use those together in the lessons we learn from each of these that create who we are. So intersectionality is really important, because we can't just look at our kids or our colleagues or our friends or our own personal children or our husbands or wives or partners as just single-leveled people. Their intersections make a difference, and the difference makes a difference in who they are and how they're going to interact in the world. So the video Intersectionality, I hope you enjoy it. I love Kimberly Crenshaw, just a very good speaker. So although it's 18 minutes and 50 seconds, it's one of those videos that will suck you in, I believe. So there are a couple of readings, and as I mentioned, you're only going through and looking at the discussion forums for this particular module. I did give you a heads up about the upcoming projects, because since you have this module off, it's a good idea to start looking ahead and starting to work on these projects. The one is the MySpace Exploration Project, and this is a photo project, so I hope that you all enjoy this. So basically in this project, what you're going to be doing is using photos to represent the space in which culture resides in your school and the neighboring communities. So if you are a person who's currently not teaching, that's perfectly fine. Just use your neighboring community and look at what are the resources around. What are some of the things that, if I need to get groceries, where do I go? If I need a fire department, where is it? How close is it? What are the convenience stores around? One of my friends who moved from Washington County into Baltimore City to live, we had a great conversation when she first made that move, because she couldn't believe how Baltimore City became a food desert during the week, that there were food deliveries typically Thursday or Friday to grocery stores, and then everybody would rush the grocery store, buy everything there was, and then during the week, sometimes it was hard to even find a gallon of milk. And she had mentioned how when she would go back out into the country, she would buy fresh fruits and take them into her students. that she was working with, and they couldn't believe this was a blueberry, and this was legitimately a fruit that came, off of a bush, off of a plant, because they just didn't have enough experience with living outside of the city or seeing things outside of the city to know that. So it's very interesting whenever we start to consider what's around us and how does that impact our developmental understanding of the culture that we live in. It's like the fish in water. You don't realize something's different until you're out of water, and then you feel that there's air. So keep that in mind. So looking at what's around in our schools, how inviting is it? What are people going to see whenever they walk in? Consider from the perspective perhaps of a diverse parent coming into your school. What does that look like for them? So I did put an example of this project into the project examples page, or assignment examples, so you can take a look at what, I think I'd put 2 in for this one, so you can take a look at what those projects look like to get an idea. I also gave you just a heads up about the final project, which is the focus group. And if you take a look at this, it says during module 2 and 3. So this is what I want you to consider during this module, since you have a little bit of time to think, like what is your group going to look like? Who are they going to be? And what are the types of questions and things I really want to dig up and get an understanding of, okay? So just keeping in mind that these projects are not due this module, but they are due in the next modules. So it's a really good time, since you have a little bit of time to work, to get on those now. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing in this course. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you in the discussion forums for this next module. Thank you.